We're back with another movie review, and my Barbenheimer back-to-back double feature has been completed, albeit I did not see these films back-to-back. I saw Oppenheimer on Saturday, and today is Monday, and I just got out of seeing Greta Gerwig's Barbie, co-written with Noah Baumbach. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the last name right. I think I've seen one of his movies. I always remember hearing about The Squid and the Whale, but I've never seen that one. But that's the one that I always think of. And I think he did Marriage Story, which had all this critical acclaim. It looked depressing, and I didn't see it. I think Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver were in that one. But I am a fan of Greta Gerwig's films. I remember seeing her first movie, Frances Ha, all the way back in like 2010, or maybe it was 2011. Lady Bird, and I've enjoyed her whole catalog. I've pretty much seen every movie she's put out, so I was interested in seeing this movie as well. Also, she's a Sacramento native, and I live about an hour and a half south of Sacramento in the Central Valley. So that was another pull for me to want to go see the film. Locality matters, folks. And obviously, this movie has become a massive blockbuster success. It had a budget of between 128 and 145 million, and opening weekend it's grossed 356 million. Margot Robbie was stated, her production company that her and her husband own is associated with this film as well. Excuse me, I still have a head cold. She was stated as saying this movie's going to make $1 billion worldwide, and it might very well do that. And this is where everything changes for me. She was also stated as saying that the aim of this film is to subvert expectations and give the audience something that they didn't know they wanted. And I was pretty much the only guy in that movie. And this movie is rated PG-13, but it's owned by Mattel, and Mattel has decided to make all of their toys that are famous into movies. And to me, this is where the movie is very disingenuous, because there was all these moms there with their young daughters, and there was very college classroom philosophical adult concepts that I feel like young kids shouldn't have been in this movie, because of it is a subversive movie, and that really affected me. Visually, the movie is amazing. It kind of was like what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, Asteroid City, on par. Stunning set design, stunning costume design, but this movie is not what you expected. You would expect it to be a kid's movie, but it's not. It's a grown-up movie, and granted, there was a lot of sexual innuendo that would have gone right over the head of any kid that was in the audience, but that being said, I felt like I was in a gender studies class half the time watching this movie, and I go to the movie just to be entertained, and I don't want to be preached at. And I felt like I was being preached at. Now, granted, I did have some laughs. There were some great laughs in this movie, easy laughs. And Margot Robbie obviously was the epitome of the stereotypical Barbie, as her character is referred to. And I love Ryan Gosling. I think Place Beyond the Pines, Drive, some of the best films I've seen, and him as an actor in those films. And I get what they're saying, but the whole concept of this, there's like multiple facets, and some things I like and other things I don't like. And that is how my review is going to be based off of, because again, they were talking about a subversive movie. And I saw a post on social media on my wife's feed from a girl that she went to elementary school with, and she said she went in to think that this movie was going to be a fun, airy adventure, and it's not 100% that, and she left feeling depressed and disillusioned, because this movie is what you call a thinker. It gets you to think, but because of, like I was saying, it's kind of marketed to young children, which I feel like this is not a movie that children should necessarily see, because of they're still developing, trying to figure out who they are, and then they start pushing all these agendas like the patriarchy and all this feminist stuff that I'm not going to really get into. That's fine, but I looked at the audience and who was there, and I felt like a lot of those concepts, you shouldn't be pushing that on this age range of people, because I feel like that's who's turning out in droves to see the movie. There was pretty much all these girls between 9 and 13 years old there with their moms at the theaters. Like I said, I was pretty much the only guy there on a matinee showing at 12:30 on a Monday afternoon in July, and it just kept pushing this agenda from the very opening scene. It kind of mimics Stanley Kubrick's 2001 Space Odyssey, where you see the monkeys get bones and they use it as a tool, and it's the dawn of man. And Helen Mirren does this dubbing voiceover where you see that girls have always played with some sort of caricature of themselves, but up until Barbie, it was always a doll, so they were kind of having an agenda pushed on them that they should be housewives and mothers, and then all these little girls rebel, and they start breaking these China dolls all on the ground, and then the movie just kind of goes downhill from there as far as pushing agendas. The men in the movie are just considered like 90s sitcoms dads, like Homer. They're just morons and idiots. And in the Barbie world, all the girls are like super feminists, and they're ruling everything and running the show, which is all fine and dandy. But again, it's pushing an agenda and marketing it at a younger audience. At least that's what I felt. I think people looked past the PG-13 rating and just saw, oh, Barbie, it's Mattel. I'm going to take my kids here. And they looked past the fact that Margot Robbie had made the statement talking about the subversiveness of this film. And then even reading Gerwig's kind of dissection, it's getting a very philosophical points of view, which I just feel like a lot of young minds that are going to see this film are not ready to handle a lot of these concepts. Yes, the world's a cold, dark, dreary place, but why are we trying to steal their adolescence by tying in this child's toy into the dark, bleak realities of humanity? And I did not like that. 91% Rotten Tomatoes score, 7.6 out of 10 IMDb. Google users are 83%, and yours truly, I'm 1 out of 5 because I just didn't like what they were doing. And I saw it right off the bat as I was sitting in there in that theater. And I just felt like I was in a gender studies class at a junior college the whole time, and that really made me mad because I went there to be entertained and see this movie that, just like even what they were saying in my notes here, they were showing as little as they could in the trailer, so you go in expecting one thing, and then they pull the rug out from you and kind of go down this rabbit hole of like, how many times do I have to be beaten over the head with the word patriarchy? Okay, I get it. And then in the real world, because there's these worlds colliding where Barbie leaves the Barbie world and goes to the real world, and it's a cold, dark, dreary place where men are a bunch of chauvinist pigs, and men rule society, and Ken goes along with her, and he discovers that he's not just an accessory, and then it's just this weird situation. I don't know, it bothered me. So that is my take on Barbie. Maybe I'm missing the deeper point here. Tear me up in the comments if you think I'm a chauvinist pig. Don't talk to my wife, she'd probably agree. Until next time, folks, we will see you then.